Hey guys, I'm Bipasha and I'm bringing to you another episode of the UrbanClap podcast. Today we have with us our business head Nikhil Shanker for Customer Experience team. Hey Nikhil, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bipasha.
Glad to have you here, Nikhil. Well, let's begin. Why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers and everyone as to what you do over here in UrbanClap?
Great. I'll just go a step a little back. I'm to set some context. I'm born in Patna. I grew up over there. Did my school, large part of my schooling in a boarding school. Was largely clueless, and then went into engineering. Was still clueless. Went into an IT company, and then I finally there was a bulb which lit up that I had to do something. So. Went into an MBA program, did that from Lucknow. Subsequent to that, I worked with HCL in a marketing and brand role, which was a very interesting experience because I got to, at that point of time, drive from scratch certain sports partnerships that we were doing, and involved a huge amount of travel to different parts of the world, UK, the US, and all of that, which was very interesting. And then the UrbanClap opportunity came up. So it was about 2.5 years back. We were a lot younger and smaller than we are right now, and it just seemed a very interesting opportunity, primarily for two reasons. One, that in my earlier role, while it was interesting, it was the end impact of work was always a couple of steps away. And at UrbanClap, what I do, what a number of folks were doing at UrbanClap at that point in time, the impact was right next door. It was something you could experience, very tangible. So that was something which I found really interesting. And the other was the sort of impact that the work could create for a number of people. And looking at that was my biggest driver, and therefore when I came in for the last 2.5 years, overall that's been my greatest joy from the work I've done. That when I do something, often someone in the family, my parents, wife, they would often have an opinion on whether my work is adding any value to anyone in the world, and and secondly, that through the work we're doing, a number of people are able to substantially improve their own livelihoods, and that's a very enriching experience. So those were two thoughts I came in with, and largely the 2.5 years, these have been the biggest takeaways. Through this period, I've worked initially. I was looking at our cleaning and EPC categories centrally. I did that for about a year and a bit, and during that period, we saw a huge scale up in those categories. I subsequently moved to looking at our home repairs and maintenance business for North India. It was Delhi NCR, and then newer markets such as Chandigarh and Jaipur, as well as some slightly more established cities like Kolkata and Ahmedabad. And through that journey, we have had a number of interesting things across each of the businesses that we have worked on in home repairs and maintenance. So that experience itself has been very, very enriching and rewarding. And I have now, broadly about 10 days back, moved into the consumer experience role. So right now I have one foot here and one foot there. I'm managing both responsibilities, and the initial impressions that I have right now from the CX team are really, really exciting. I'm very excited about the journey that we're on.
Well, thank you so much, Nikhil. That was wonderful. You mentioned you were a part of the business side first, and then you recently moved to the consumer experience team. So, from what you've learned, how is the customer experience team at UrbanClap like?
So, in terms of the sort of challenges that we have as a company, where we are, or if you look at the overall company, we have a partner side and a consumer side, and we're broadly looking at two things: growth and experience. And in this, the broadly any business team will focus on the three or four of these buckets.
Right.
The consumer experience team will focus very, very deeply on the consumer experience bucket. And within this, the team has been holding fort on whenever things don't go as planned. This team ensures that the experience subsequently is great, and consumers do come back to UrbanClap and want to again take services from UrbanClap. And that itself is a very, very large and difficult piece to run and build. And I think that piece has been built very well, built very strongly. I think there's a phenomenal team right now running this entire operation.
Right.
Where we're looking at taking this further is that how do we move to a place where we are almost entirely taking ownership of the consumer experience piece,
right.
and thinking about how we can very deeply contribute towards moving in business quality. So when someone is taking an AC service at home, how are we ensuring that service itself is phenomenal?
Right.
Or if someone is taking a SaaS service, how do we ensure that service is flawless? And there is really no occurrence of the need to reach out to a consumer experience team. So that's the challenge which lies ahead, and that's the that's a really, really exciting part of what as part of this team, the sort of challenges that will come ahead. That's what I'm really excited about.
A lot of work actually. So, Nikhil, what do you think? What makes the team up and running for this every day, like coming in the morning, and how does the entire day of a customer experience specialist look like?
Sure. So, from the individuals I have worked with earlier, in my earlier roles, and most recently just interacting with members of the team, the point that's come across most clearly in those interactions is that there is an extremely high degree of ownership and an extremely high degree of empathy, which means that individuals on the team will stop at nothing to do what is right by the consumer and what is right by our partners. And in that equation, UrbanClap will be number 3.
Yeah.
And that is the mindset that individuals in the team have. And if you think about it, that's basically what Jeff Bezos has spoken about in number of times when he's spoken about building Amazon, that the only thing that he drilled into his approach to business and how he built his team was an obsession with customer experience.
Customer first.
And that we see a lot across the team, and that just makes me very hopeful for how this team will continue to build forth and continue to contribute in new areas.
So, Nikhil, how big is this team basically? What is the team size of customer experience here? And for you, I would ask, what is the most challenging piece that you think is in handling such a huge team?
Sure. So we are roughly about 600 members. We'll be about 750 odd because we'll see a certain degree of peak happening in the business over the next few months. This number is split roughly half and half into our partner ecosystem and consumer experience. So with such a large team, obviously one major challenge is in ensuring that the right set of individuals are working in the team. If everyone is motivated and high quality, then that automatically attracts a lot more high quality individuals to join the team. So that's one part, and just ensuring that the team is a set of high quality individuals who are really motivated. Second is ensuring that motivation is an ongoing piece. So how do you keep the team motivated and invigorated? And third, and most importantly from a business standpoint, how do we ensure that this team continues to not cross a 700, 800 number, which means that how does each leader in the team, each person in the team continue to think about all the things they're doing and how can those things become more efficient, more automated, and most importantly, solving core business problems that won't even result in these tickets or these consumer experience breakdowns arising. So that would probably be the three things.
Thank you. You mentioned motivation and how important motivation is for our team members. What do you think people should do to keep themselves motivated?
So overall, if we hold people accountable to outcomes, that and give people sufficient space to figure out how they'll achieve those outcomes.
Right.
That, in my mind, is the single largest tool to drive motivation. Everyone comes into a workspace or a workplace believing that they can figure things out themselves. And more often than not, they are capable of figuring things out themselves. It's important to recognize that and define very clear outcomes for people and hold people accountable to those outcomes. And then the rest, individuals are capable of figuring out themselves. When that sort of environment is created, that can often be the biggest motivator. At UrbanClap, we have been driving this fairly hard across all parts of our business, whether it's consumer experience or business or marketing or HR. And I think that overall ensures that any member at any level has a very high degree of ownership of whatever they're driving and is very, very motivated to achieve the outcomes that they have owned up to themselves.
Absolutely, I think. And so I think when you think of customer experience, I myself, like you have some services or you have some issue with somebody, you would always call up the customer experience team at any organization and literally blast them. My work is not done, where is the person and this and that. I'm sure our people here in our company now would have a lot of calls in the day, both professionals and customers, badgering them over things that have not been done. How does an agent in our organization or a customer specialist handle these situations? How do you manage them?
I think they're superhumans.
Definitely.
Because, and where I'm coming from is because through the last couple of years, there are days when I have spent doing the customer experience agent role or the operations agent role, just for experience and learning, and secondly, out of necessity. At peaks, we have had our team come down and just work with the business operations team and see what's breaking and what we need to fix. And the equanimity and calmness with which all agents over here work is outstanding, and it's just out of personal experience, it's very difficult for me to maintain that level of equanimity when everything around you is like through the day you're facing all of these complaints and consistently addressing them. And I think it's overall I think it's a great learning experience for any individual coming into a consumer business. this team itself becomes a great introduction to the consumer business. It gives you an understanding of overall how business works, but secondly, all the bases that business breaks. So if you spend, like, say, 6 months to a year over here, you're so full of insights on all the things that can be fixed on our partner side, on our consumer side, on how we've designed certain processes on our product. It just puts you in a very, very good place to move forward into different parts of the org.
Thank you, Nikhil. My next question would be around how busy do we get? I mean, I'm sure the call flow would be different, different seasons, like wedding season would be very busy, or say Diwali would be very busy for us. So, how busy do we generally get, and how does the day generally look like?
So, quite honestly, as part of the consumer experience team, the upcoming peak that we will see in our business through spring and summer is going to be the first time I am part of the consumer experience team. But overall, the business at UrbanClap doubles to triples in this period, depending on which business you're in. And if it's the AC business, then that just probably goes 100x in a very, very short period of time. So that period, obviously there's some level of stretch, but our success as a team is in ensuring that stretch is a very, very manageable stretch. There is really nothing that there's no perceptible stretch. And second, that the number of members that we need to add is not inordinately high. And for that, we've gone overall as a team very deeply into all the things that we can solve on our service delivery experience. So there's a ton of work that has gone into how our AC service delivery can be much better through service partner selection, service partner trainings, the sort of processes we have defined in fixing an AC, that as an example. Once that's done, that obviously will reduce the number of incidents that arise for consumers to see gaps in services. When they do, we have looked as much as possible to create self-serve solutions on the app itself, so that consumers don't even need to reach out to the consumer experience helpline. They can get solutions directly on the app. And in the event, after all of that they do, we've invested heavily in the selection and training of our of individuals in the customer experience team, so that all solving for the consumer is top notch, really quick. Resolutions are very, very fast. So as a package, I think we've invested thus far in a lot of planning and execution on top of the funnel quality, and we will continue to invest a lot of effort on ensuring that the number of incidents that the consumer experience team really has to work on continues to go lower and lower. And that basically is where a majority of my own effort will also go towards.
So, what does your next 6-month plan look like? What will be your top 1 or 2 focus areas, maybe?
So the immediate piece is to ensure that as we scale up for during spring and summer, those periods pass without us knowing that we really grew 3x. So that's one part of the effort over the next 2 months. And then subsequent to that, ensuring that how does our team overall continue to go deeper and deeper into end user experience at when the service is delivered, and invest in deriving greater insights from incidents, partnering with our business team and our training teams and our supply sourcing teams to ensure that the right type of incidents are identified and we are solving for it through right partner selection, right partner training, right partner management to ensure that end consumer delivery is top notch. Similarly, looking at how we can make our product, our app much stronger, much better, so that consumer complaints over there, whenever they arise, are minimized. So all of those learnings that are there across all of the consumer experience team, how do we bring them together and partner with different parts of the org to ensure that user experience and customer experience keeps on improving?
Well, that's a lot of work coming your way, Nikhil, in the next 6 months. Well, what is your, in your entire tenure that you've been here with us, what is your fondest memory of being in UrbanClap till date?
There are a number of experiences that that I've had when meeting partners, which have been very, very fond.
Yeah.
I think most recently, about a couple of months back, we just visiting homes of some partners who had been with us for a period of time, and there was a cleaning professional in Noida, and I'd gone to their home. So he lived there with his wife and young son, and he'd been with UrbanClap about a year and a bit. And he mentioned how through the earnings on the platform, his son was now going to a school which was much better than where he was earlier. His personal aspirations around moving into, he had bought a plot in his village.
Wow.
He had bought a motorcycle which he was going to use to serve more customers. So, in short, I think just that experience of seeing a partner's life or a human being's life improve in some way because of the work that was going on over here was very, very enriching. And also to look at how it wasn't just a point in time improvement, but how the individual also had aspirations to continue to do more, which meant that he will continue to invest in his business through his earnings from UrbanClap. He will continue to seek a better life. And that just meant that if we continue doing what we're doing as a company, I think there is a lot that each of us can do if we are at it.
That's true. That's completely true, and I really agree with that. I think, Nikhil, one parting message for people who are watching us right now. What is that one message? Why should somebody join UrbanClap and be a part of the customer experience team here?
So, couple of points. One that I think as UrbanClap, we're fairly young fairly early in our journey. We've been we've existed for about 5 years now, and through this period, there's obviously a certain scale that's been built, but in terms of what we can be, I think we're still very, very, very young. If you look at some of the great companies across the world and what they've done, GE started from Thomas Edison's laboratory, and it's done some of the most phenomenal things. Tesla started, Elon Musk started SpaceX, and they are now looking at going to the moon. So every company, the initial journey is exciting, but still very, very limited on what that company can truly achieve. And I think we are very young in our journey. So there's a significant amount of business building and overall contribution to be made. So that's, I think, one key thing that anyone who's looking at a business build journey, UrbanClap is going to be a great place. Second, that the consumer experience team itself becomes a great place to come into such a business because it exposes you to a number of things in the way the business functions, and gives you very, very deep insights through everything that you experience on the consumer experience side, which you can then apply into any role that you go in within the company. And last, that to the point around just the work having an impact which is very very real, whether it's your near and dear ones experiencing services that you have helped create, or partners delivering that service and significantly improving the quality of life that they have for themselves and their families. I think that's the most enriching part. So, as a package of all these three things, I think those would be broadly reasons that individuals should look at UrbanClap for.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. It was really insightful having you on our show. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. For the next month, we bring to you another episode of the UrbanClap podcast. Bye.